Hi, my name is Shima, and I'm just going to briefly go over some of the problems that I have with organized religion. Um, I think it's very dangerous, and millions of people have died since the beginning of time in the name of religious reasons, in the names of their gods, and I think that mostly is politics. Um, the word religion actually derived from the Greek word religios, which meant to obey. But somehow it's not in the Greek dictionary anymore. But at one point in time it was in there, in earlier versions. 10,000 BCE, the Neolithic Revolution began and resulted in a worldwide population explosion. The first cities, states, kingdoms, and organized religions began to emerge. The political systems were usually theocracies, and the religious elite were often the ruling class. Now see, the problem I have with that is human error. And when people get their egos involved in religion or politics, it's not good because people make mistakes. People are wrong about so much, but since it was their way of controlling savagery and anarchy, then I guess it worked for them at the time, but I'm not sure how well it worked out for the future of the world as a whole. But a few thousand years later, there's a place called Göbekli Tepe, nicknamed Potbelly Hill, and it's the oldest man-made place of worship discovered, and it was found near Turkey. And with this structure, it had undertones of ancestor worship, meaning that voodoo is the world's oldest religion. And that's just ancestor worship, going to your ancestors for answers. And I think that's where like a lot of the alchemy came from, the information from the ancestors. But in 3300 BCE was supposed to be the time that Krishna, one of the many Hindu gods, lived. So Hinduism is the second oldest religion. Hinduism does not have a unified system of belief encoded in declaration of faith or a creed, but it's rather an umbrella term comprising of the plurality of religious phenomena originating and based on the Vedic traditions, Vedic or Vedic. Give it another few thousand years, and most of the religions were making sacrifices to ancient aliens, like the Mayans, the Sumerians, the Dogons, the Celts. So 3000 BCE, which was called the Proto-Literate Age, Sumerian cuneiform tablets emerged, detailing religious records of creation and a heavenly host of extraterrestrial creator gods. And there was a story of a great flood, and that's where the Epic of Gilgamesh came from. Now, when the flood came by the Creator to cleanse the world of its wickedness, somehow it crept back in. Noah's grandson Cush and others were mad at the Creator and decided to build a tower to the heavens to destroy the God that created the earth. Needless to say, they never finished the project, but instead became wicked again. Cush's son Nimrod was a mighty hunter and remembered the magic and the alchemy of the old ways. The people even started to worship him like he was a god because he was performing so many miracles, and he was doing so much with what he knew. When he died, his wife / mother, because Cush's wife married her son, her name was Semiramis, and she fixed it so the world would worship her as a goddess, her and her bastard child Tammuz. She spread this propaganda so far across the land that it gave birth to paganism. Greek mythology and Roman mythology, she is the mother of it all. So at the same time, the Sumerian text stated that there were over 3,600 gods. So around 1367 BCE, monotheistic religion was said to have begun, and it was credited to the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten, who broke away from polytheism, and his beliefs were thought to have been the precursor of the Abrahamic religions by worshiping the sun. Now, I'm not sure if that was Nimrod that he was worshiping, or did he make himself a god, because that was a growing trend in the time for pharaohs and kings and queens to turn themselves into gods and to have the people worship them as gods. I think Semiramis did start that trend, but I can't prove that. I don't know for sure. But and the Hebrews were actually northern Sumerians who broke away from the tribes and took the fragmented stories from the cuneiform and that they remembered, and they formed the Torah out of these Sumerian cuneiform stories. They tell stories from their religious bias because they did not like the people that they broke away from, that were living in the area. And the cultures of the Sumerians and the Babylonians and the Assyrians and the Egyptians were evil, while the culture of the Hebrews were pure and good. Again, human ego comes into play. And from the Hebraic culture stemmed Christianity, where Yeshua Messiah was born of a virgin mother to teach the Hebrews and the rest of the world the ways of their Creator. But he was also correcting the Hebrews for their self-righteous ways. However, the Hebrews weren't able to receive him, and they got the Roman government, who were occupying them at the time, to give him the death penalty. So they killed him. And now the Romans took Yeshua's account and mixed it up with their mythology to control the world. It was their meal ticket out of the Dark Ages. Hence came Roman Catholicism. They changed his name to Issuus, and once we started using the letter J, it changed to Jesus. So it went from Yeshua to Issuus, Issuus to Jesus. And his life also birthed Gnosticism and many cults such as Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, and I think like on the Catholic side there were like different sects, like Sangria and saint worship. I know there's a lot of like criminals that worship Santa Muerte and so on. But while this is going on, there's another religion lurking around the corner, Islam. This religion counterattacks all the other religions, and I don't think that people who practice Islam even know who they worship. And I hope I don't start a riot. I have to say that. Please do not riot. You know, if you don't like what I say, just be calm about it and just be mad about it. Don't go and hurt anybody, or don't come cussing me out, because what I'm saying is what I believe to be true. But from what I read, a meteorite hit the earth some time ago, and the people turned it into a place of worship. Each tribe worshiped their own god in their own place. And in this building there were over 300 gods. The religion was founded by the Prophet Muhammad when he got rid of all the gods in this building except for one. Now, imagine like a museum where there's like different exhibits, different places. Well, each tribe went to their own designated area to worship their own designated god. And Muhammad got rid of all the gods except for one. But the thing is, the word Allah is not a name. It's the Arab word for God. It's a generic term. It's genderless. And before Muhammad reformed the Kaaba, the people called all of their gods Allah. And so it's like, yeah, well, I worship this Allah, I worship this Allah, well, I worship this Allah, I worship this Allah. And each one had a name, but that's their word for God. So what I'm wondering is, what was the name of the God that Muhammad kept, since he destroyed all the other gods? And how are we to know that the one he kept was the creator of heaven and earth? because he didn't disclose his name. You know, so it's really hard to tell which one he kept, which one he left, you know. But more than likely, he kept the god of his tribe, which was the Quraysh tribe, which he was part of. And the Quraysh tribe worshipped Hunal, Hunal, and that was the moon god. And he had 2 daughters. And what's the symbol for Islam? Isn't that like a crescent moon? Yeah. And a star? So they say that because a lot of people that practice Islam will tell you that the crescent moon and the star is because of Ramadan. Well, I'm thinking that Ramadan is because of the crescent moon and the star, because that was the god that they worship. So it's interchangeable, so it's hard to pinpoint. You know, it's a really easy explanation to explain that away. But with all the paganism and element worship and extraterrestrial worship and flawed ego as a forefront in religion, with its inherent evil undertones, I just don't want to participate in them. I believe in a supreme being, and I even believe in a savior of mankind. But I believe that people are easily deceived, and people are easily confused, and people are not taught to think for themselves. So how are we to know? And that's all I have to say about that. But don't forget to visit my website at www.easypaychecknow.weebly.com. And as always, have a great day. Bye.